It is 6:30 p.m. on a Wednesday night, and for Twitch on Green Oaks Gaming's channel, that means it is time for some inspiration. We have 2 bags of miniatures. We're going to pull a miniature out of here, and we are going to use that miniature to inspire some character creation. That is our Wednesday night programming. We've used this platform before to go on both sides of the screen. Generally, we do player characters, but there are times that we have jumped the screen and created monsters and villains for GM use. Really just creating something based on a miniature. With the characters, I think we've really covered some really interesting takes, all based on what that miniature inspires me to do. So, as we go through, we're going to adjust our cameras here a little bit, just so we can have good view of the miniature as well. I am going to just pop the bags in front of the camera, and I don't know which one I'm going to pull from yet. We've got both of them are pretty full bags. We have been dipping kind of back and forth between them. And let's see if anything just right off the bat takes my eye. Oh, I see one here. I see one here. That one right there. Right there, that's the one. So I know this small camera doesn't show it very well. So we'll do it a little bit there, and then we'll put it under the big camera so we can see. This is a figure holding a spell book. Pretty fancy clothing. Some gadgets and bottles and scroll and keys hanging off a belt. Big open sleeves, no armor. That leads me to believe that we are looking at a magic user, possibly. So this miniature is out of Bones 5 Kickstarter. Now, an interesting aspect is there are glasses up here, or goggles of some sort. Hair all pinned up in like a fancy bun. Yeah, lots of bits and pieces hanging off. Looks like boomerangs in a pouch, a bottle, a scroll case. Like I said, the keys, fancy belt, pretty fancy gown overall. I'm not sure what that round bit is right there. Maybe a magnifying glass? I don't know. There's what looks kind of like boomerangs. Bottle scroll case. There's the keys. Beautiful sculpt for sure. Beautiful sculpt. If I saw this on the shelf, wanted to purchase it, how would I use that to generate a character? That's what it's all about. I'm going to give a moment so we can get that screen capture for the YouTube channel. And I've got my dice here, I've got my pencil, I've got my character sheet. We are going to go through and build our character right off of this miniature. Now I do try to keep things pretty basic and go off the player's handbook primarily. See if we can get a good, I really like to keep that miniature in the frame if possible. And we'll adjust this up a little bit just so I can open and close my book. Alright, so the first things that we want to do is decide on the race and class we want to play. So race, I don't see big pointy ears, so that does not lead me to believe that it is anything like an elf. Height-wise, for a 28mm, it is a medium-sized, close to 28 mils, so most likely a human. However, you could go half elf if you wanted to. And then just say it's more predominant for the human side than the half elf side. So depending on how you wanted to play that. But I think I am going to go with a human. And before you give lots of hate about how boring humans are, it doesn't matter as much on the race to me. I am more interested in what the miniature guides me to create, and I think you can make an interesting character with any race and class combo if you give it enough effort. And then because of the book, I am definitely leaning towards a wizard. And this one's going to be first level. Now we're going to go through and start popping in some abilities. So I'm going to roll for my abilities. I do this nearly every show. Roll 46 and drop the lowest. Holy buckets. What? What? If I didn't have that on camera, nobody would believe me. So there we've got an 18. I'm going to mark this down just on the side. Now, based on these rolls, I may beg my DM to let me adjust them out. Otherwise, I just want to see how, if I go through, what am I going to get? Doesn't surprise me. From one end of the spectrum to the other. I'm curious how other people do their dice rolls. There are, of course, lots of different ways to do it. What's your favorite way? Do you prefer to roll for stats, or do you prefer the point buy or standard array? What's your go-to? Comments are open, so don't hesitate to pop in a comment there. Wow, up and down we're going, up and down. Excuse me. Not too bad. We've got a 7 and an 8. Those are our two lowest. Now, just for funds, there was a point where my GM, when I was a younger player, let me roll an additional and then drop the lowest as well. So I'm going to do that just to see what I get. So if I were to pop that in here, that would be a 13 instead of the 7. But I'm going to keep that 7 and just talk my GM into letting me manipulate these up and down so that I can get stats that meet the race class combo as well as what I view from that miniature. So this one here, I am definitely going to say they don't look uncapable. However, I definitely want to have them very book smart. So with the intelligence of 8, that for me is just not going to work. I am actually going to move that to an 18. So I've got that high intelligence. And then I've got strength and dexterity as my two lowest scores. Both of them are pretty poor, but I do want to juggle those around. And hopefully my GM won't mind, which since I'm my own GM, I'm okay with it. So we'll do 8 and 7. So not a super tough character by any means, but because we are choosing the race of a human, we do get to make some adjustments on that because of our race. So with the human, once I get to my stat blocks, here we go. We get a +1 to each of our abilities. So that would make this 8, 9, 16. Now here's the interesting part. So we've got that 18. I am going to move it to 19, 14, and 15. And let's see, we know we are a medium creature. Our speed is going to be 30 feet. And then languages, we can focus on common as our core, and then we get one extra. And in this case, I'm going to do Elven, just because it goes right into that aspect of magic, I think, really, really well. Now, on the back of our sheet, we do get some aspects that we can put in here. We know that they reach adulthood in their late teens, live less than a century. We're going to say this character is actually just past the late teens. We're going to put them at 20 years old. And of course, we can do anything we want for a name. And this one here, I am just going to come up with the name that I use on a lot of different things. And this is going to be Aja. And then I want to make some type of something with a little bit of flair. And I'm actually in Houston, so I'm going with, we have a real strong connection with people from Louisiana and the Bayou. So I'm going to put Aja Lacroix. Just why not? All right, let's go through and pop in our modifiers here. So we've got an 8, which is a -1, that 9, which is a -1, 16, which is a +3. Our intelligence of 19 is a +4. 14 is going to be a +2, and a 15 is going to be a +2. Let's see, what else do we've got? Let's go with alignment. So generally I don't play alignment, but I like to start out with alignment, so it gives me kind of in my headspace, who are they and how are they going to act when they first get introduced to the game. So alignment for me is kind of important. Because this person here is a mage, a magic user, definitely they are going to function in my game world within the bounds of that aspect. So I'm leaning more lawful or neutral. I'm going to go actually with neutral good because I love good campaigns and good characters. I think that's what makes them heroic, is being good. And then let's go in. We know our proficiency bonus at level 1 is going to be a +2. Now we get to go into our class, which again, I really want to stick with a wizard. I think it really fits the miniature really, really well. And with that book, that magic book, we can use that for their spell book. Alrighty, a wizard. So for their features, they do have spell casting. And I do have my spell casting sheet here. They also have arcane recovery. Both of these are feats at first level. Cantrips, they'll know 3. So I'm going to pop 3 little markers down there. And then first level spells, they will have 2 spell slots. 2 spell slots. Let's see, their hit die are 1d6. So it's going to be 6 plus their Constitution modifier, so 9 is going to be their current hit points, 9 at their max. They have 1d6. And then they'll roll the 1d6 plus their con each time they level up. Proficiencies, nothing for armor. For weapons, they have daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, and light crossbows. Definitely a lot more than the basic edition that I started with things like the light crossbows. It's kind of nice to see they have more versatility than just a dagger or a dart and spells. So their saving throws they are proficient with is going to be intelligence and wisdom. So their intelligence is going to be a +4 and their wisdom a +2. And then skills, we get to choose 2 from Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, and Religion. Well, that's a no-brainer there. Arcana is going to be one of them. Arcana, and I am going to go with, so I'm kind of torn between History and Investigation. Those two are kind of pulling me in different directions. I'm going to go with Investigation. I think those two are going to be important. So we'll add that +4 to those rolls. And then we get to start with the following equipment in addition to the background. So we get a quarterstaff or dagger. I'm going to do the dagger. I'm going to pop that up here. Well, I should, I suppose, put it up here. That dagger. We also get a component pouch or an arcane focus. I'm going to actually choose the arcane focus. And a scholar's pack or an explorer's pack. I'm going to do the scholar's pack. And we also get a spell book. Alrighty. Let's see here. Any other big stuff I need out of here? Yes, let's go over and get on the spell page. This is for Aja Lacroix. Our spell save DC is 8 plus proficiency bonus plus intelligence. So we'll have a total of +6. Spellcasting attack modifier, proficiency bonus plus intelligence. So we're going to have a +6. Then our spellcasting ability is going to be intelligence based. For arcane recovery, we do get to regain some magical energy by studying the spellbook. So once per day, when you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover. So this would be less than half your wizard level. So less than 1, rounded up, is 1. So we'll put in here 1 slot, level 1 recover at end of short rest. Alrighty. That is our wizard so far. Now we want to go through and focus on, before I start focusing on the personality aspects, I'm actually going to go through and fill out the spells, because I think that is going to, no, you know what? I'm actually going to wait on that. I am going to wait on that, because the background can definitely determine what type of spells our wizard is going after. So let's go through and start filling out some of our details. We know we have a human. Base height is 4 foot 8 inches. I'm just going to stick with that. And then base weight of 110. Of course, you'll do 2d4 pound modifier on that, but I'm just sticking right with the basic. Now, eyes, skin, and hair, we get to choose ourselves. So eyes, I'm going to go with, let's go with a strong hazel eyes. Olive skinned, and let's go with black hair. I'm not ready to go on that backstory yet. That'll come as we start diving into the aspects of our person. All right, now we get to pick our background. Super important because that's going to lead us down our personality traits, our ideals, our bonds, and our flaws. So this is where I really want to start studying this miniature a lot closer. Some of the aspects that I'm going to start leading into. Aside from the spell book, it is pretty fancier dress. Not very protective. A little more like showy with that big slit up the side and legs sticking out. Probably hose on there. But not quite for court, right? This is not a princess gown. Super low cut, but very intricately detailed. Excuse me. I think they wear it well, but definitely not princess. So I'm not thinking of noble. The goggles on this kind of headband wrapping around the head it tells me that they are a little more I guess not, they're concerned about looks, but function, I think. Function first. Let's see how that, let's see if we can get a little bit better light on there. Seeing some shadows on the screen. I want to get that as bright as we possibly can. Avoid some of those shadows. So yeah, they're not like uber snotty, I would say, or snobbish, but hair carefully placed in a bun, nice and neat. Clothing is not like wholly raggedy, anything like that. Functional stuff on their belt. I am curious about that. It almost looks like a magnifying glass there. It's got a little bit of a mold line, so it's a little bit harder to see. But that's what made me think of the investigation. Was I viewed that as a magnifying glass. But I'm wondering almost if that's a mirror, and that's the arcane focus. And then just some, looks like soft boots. Okay, I'm getting a good idea of who this hero is. So an acolyte in service to a temple. I'm not really feeling that. Charlatan, no. Although a temple, in service to a temple, but pursuing magic, that could be a thing, leading into that investigative background. Criminal, I'm not feeling. Entertainer, I'm not feeling. Folk hero, you could do a folk hero for darn near any character, but I've already done that one. I've done a guild artisan. Hermit, I'm not feeling. They're just not like raggedy and too different. Noble, I already said no on noble. I want to avoid the noble. Outlander, I'm not really feeling. Although you could do it with some type of like a elven outlander maybe. Sage, now that's kind of a drop-in de facto for a wizard, right? All study and background in studies and research. Let's see, a sailor, I'm not really feeling. A soldier, no. Urchin, no. I'm really narrowing down between Acolyte and Sage. Acolyte and Sage. I did a Druid that had a Sage background just a couple of weeks ago, and it came out really kind of cool. Sage or Acolyte? Let's throw this on its ear a little bit, unless there's any, I don't see any comments from chat. So maybe time to pull some stops and go to one of our other source books. Let me pull up my D&D Beyond, and I'm just going to peruse real quick the backgrounds and see if there's something that really grabs my attention. Let's see. I'm really thinking. See, like there's a clan crafter. Those goggles make me think kind of artificer-esque. Fey Lost out of the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Let's see. Investigator out of Van Richten's. Investigator kind of is interesting to me. Not a sage. Yeah, Investigator is what I'm kind of feeling. And that's out of Van Richten's guide. All right, so here's the details on that. Rather than grab the book, I'm just going to read out of my D&D Beyond. You relentlessly seek the truth. Perhaps you're motivated by belief in the law and a sense of universal justice, or maybe that very law has failed you and you seek to make things right. You could have witnessed something remarkable or terrible, and now you must know more about this hidden truth. Or maybe you're a detective for hire, uncovering secrets for well-paying clients. Whether the mysteries you're embroiled in are local crimes or realm-spanning conspiracies, you're driven by a personal need to hunt down even the most elusive clues and reveal what others would keep hidden in the shadows. I'm really digging that. Having that investigation skill already. I know I would get it again, so I would have to change things around. Possibly not. But yeah, I'm actually kind of digging the Investigator, so that's what we're going to do. Very different and very off kind of target. Definitely not the what we have been doing, trying to stick primarily with basic stuff out of the player's handbook. But sometimes you just got to go with your gut, and I'm really feeling that this one is going to be a little bit different, and I think it's going to pay off. So we get to choose a couple of skill proficiencies: insight, investigation, and perception. Now, I've already got investigation, so we're going to go insight. and perception. We get tool proficiencies. So we get proficiency with Disguise Kit. And Thieves' Tools. Doesn't that play right in to our skeleton keys? See, things coming together. And then equipment, we get a magnifying glass. Look at that. And we get evidence from a past case. So evidence for that, we roll on the trinkets. Trinkets table out of the horror trinkets, which I'm not going to do. I'll actually use a trinket out of the DM's guide instead. Let's pull that up here real quick, and just so we can get it. That is going to be oh, maybe that is in the player's handbook. I'll bet it is. So many books. Sometimes you just get lost. And yeah, 160 and 161. All right, so we're going to roll a D100 and see what we get for a trinket. It's going to be a 71, and that is going to be, ooh, this one is actually pretty good. Fragment of a beautiful song written as notes on 2 pieces of parchment. So we've got to look at how we're going to bring that into the fold for our character, into their backstory. All right, then we also get common clothes. And then we get a first case. Your first case influenced the types of mysteries you're interested in. Why was this case so impactful, personal, or traumatic? Who did it affect besides you? Why and how did you get involved? And was it solved? How did it set you on the path to investigating other mysteries? Roll on or choose details from the first case table below to develop the mystery that started your career as an investigator. So this is a D8 roll. Let's see what we get. If I don't like it, I'm going to pick something. A 5. Let's see. You were wrongfully accused and convicted of a crime. You managed to escape and seek to help others avoid the experience you suffered, even while still being pursued by the law. I don't know. I'm not really feeling that one. Let's see. Let's see. A couple of these are kind of funky. I don't know that I'm feeling all of them for my general game. So I'm going to take one and change it up a little bit. So on the back in the, let's see, where can I put it? We're going to pop it actually in our backstory. I'll put it down low. First case. let's see, revealed that monsters terrorizing the village were illusions created by a cruel mage. The magic user escaped, but you've continued to uncover magical hoaxes. And that will play into the little bit of evidence that we have found. So that's pretty cool. So then let's see, we do have a feature of official inquiry. Your experience of gaining access to people and places to get information you need. Through a combination of fast talking, determination, and official looking documentation, you can gain access to a place or an individual related to a crime you're investigating. Those who aren't involved in your investigation avoid impeding you or pass along your requests. Additionally, local law enforcement has firm opinions about you, viewing you as either a nuisance or one of their own. So, official inquiry. All right, now we're going to go through and do our background personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to roll for these, but if I don't like the outcome, I'm going to pick them anyhow. So the first one is our personality trait. We had to roll a d12. Oh, that's a d20. It's hard to get a 17 on a d12, isn't it? All right, a 2, a signature piece of clothing or distinct weapon serves as an emblem of who I am. Ooh, I like that because they do have very distinct clothing. So a signature dress. Serves as an emblem of who I am, because that is so unique and distinct of an outfit. Very distinct. Now for our ideal, also a d12, a 4, escape. I believe there is something beyond the world I know, and I need to find it. I do actually like that, because I think it plays into that kind of investigative aspect. Escape. I believe there is something beyond the world beyond the world I know, and I need to find it. And our bond, I owe much to my vanished mentor. I seek to continue their work even as I search to find them. I actually am feeling that one pretty good. And maybe it's the DM aspect of me, but we'll get into that. We'll get into it shortly. I'll tell you why here after I get this finalized out and we go over some background. So on the flaw, also a 4, I've done unspeakable evil and will do anything to prevent others from finding out. As a good person, I'm just not feeling that one. And it's definitely a powerful driving piece, but I'm already working with so much. I'm going to re-roll that. I'm especially superstitious and live life seeking to avoid bad luck, wicked spirits, or the mists. So that one there, again, I'm not feeling it. This is an investigator. They're going to be, I guess, doubtful, right? Doubtful of the aspects that are coming in here. So I'm really not feeling that one. So I'm just going to read through here and pick one. Ooh, I like this one. I like this one. I'm exceptionally cautious, planning laboriously and devising countless contingencies. That is a nerdy aspect of this investigator. Over planning, over cautious, constantly trying to come up with 5 different contingencies. I like that. That would be fun to role play at the table as well. I'm always, as everybody's getting ready to go into action, trying to draw them back into, well, what happens if something goes wrong? You know, that kind of thing. While it could be unnerving and everything, it's a good, fun aspect to differentiate your character as well. So let's see. I'm exceptionally cautious, planning laboriously, and devising countless contingencies. All right. So I'm just going to look real quick at the trinkets list they have here and see if anything if it makes better sense than the trinket that I pulled. I got a 96. So let's see what that would have been. 96 would have been a ceramic figure of a cat with too many eyes. Ooh. Ooh, that is kind of cool. Thinking illusions, cat with too many eyes. I do actually like that better. Darn it, here I thought I was all set with that note of music. But no, I had to go and change it. Let's see. That was a ceramic figure of a cat with too many eyes. I do like that. And then let's see, we also get the 10 gold pieces. Nice, 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 nice. All right. Now we have to go through and pick some spells. Now here I am going to be boring and go right back. Ooh, that's not too good. 1d4 minus 1 to my spell list so we can get our spells picked out and then dial into some backstory. Because for me, that's where some of the real fun is at. So for our spells, we're going to the Wizards table. And the first thing we're going to do is pick our 3 cantrips known. And let's see here. let's go with I'm thinking of more of the aspect of that illusionist aspect. So I'm thinking we're going to go with dancing lights. I'm going to go with minor illusion. And then I'm going to change things up because I do want to have some type of an offensive spell. I am going to go with acid splash. And then for our spell book, we're going to have 10 spells because we're first level, or I'm sorry, 6 spells at first level. So let's go with detect magic. I think they need. We are going to do identify. I'm thinking investigation, digging in. Let's go with shield to make up for the lack of armor. Let's do silent image. 2 more. 2 more. Let's try here's where I want to get a little more, I want to start looking at a little more utilitarian. We're going to do, going in with that acid splash, I'm going to do a ray of sickness. And let's do sleep. So kind of funky spells. You don't see this combo used a whole lot for first level wizards. But I really wanted to differentiate it because they are investigating things like dancing lights they can use to illuminate, minor illusions. So going back into the background of having their village kind of haunted or run amok from a mage, from an evil mage. And then acid splash for me, that one's a very different one. And my thoughts on it are this person, Aja Lacroix, is looking for things that can destroy things like evidence. They are very familiar with the aspect of investigation and everything, and should they need, they can destroy any type of evidence that's needed. They can also use it to get into locked areas. They can use that acid in different ways to help their investigation. And then detect magic, identify, definitely identification and detection, super important for investigation. For the shield, that's to make up for lack of armor. Silent image goes back into that illusion, also with the minor illusion. And then ray of sickness kind of also goes in with that acid splash. Super offensive and gritty, dirty, like painful, poisonous, disgusting, acidy, burny. These are very different from gentle illusion. And this goes into effect for that aspect of the mage using the illusions to torment the village. And then sleep, I think it's just a good utilitarian one to have for going up against subjects that they are investigating. So that is the spells. Now we've got a little bit of time left. Let's go over the background. And here's where I wanted to tie some pieces in. So this is Aja Qua. So Aja was a friend to the city or village, we'll say village, shaman, who began teaching magic and wizardly ways to Aja. We'll call this person Nebi, the shaman, was secretly tormenting the village with illusion of cat-like beasts, which were a cover for Nebi to use the people for necromancy studies. So giving that big aspect of the person who they thought was their teacher is actually the villain. And this is a great story arc that the GM can use to integrate some character story arcs into the game, depending on how everything's going. But it's some rich opportunity to show that Aja does not yet know. She knows that whoever the mage is had this ceramic figure of these cats with many eyes. It turns out, well, the player is going to know this, it turns out that that was actually the shaman. It's one and the same. So maybe we'll actually take that out and just leave it. No, we'll leave it as is. So Nebi faked his own capture while fleeing and leaving a statuette of a many-eyed cat as a red herring. So it'd be great for a GM to have this type of a backstory where I can utilize that many-eyed cat feature and have Aja go adventuring looking for clues on what does this many-eyed cat mean. Maybe there's a temple, maybe there's some type of a ancient school, maybe there's some type of a outlander outpost where these are kind of utilized pretty regularly. And when they go out there and find out that nobody from that location has been alive for thousands of years, but the last person to study that came from here or here, whatever, there should be a trail of clues that through adventuring, Aja can go and uncover who is this mage and why did they take my mentor who I'm trying to save and rescue. When they finally get to save and rescue the mentor, it turns out I'm the villain. Or when they finally get to the villain, I'm your mentor. So that kind of play can be super fun around a table. So that's the aspect of it. Now I will say that the arcane focus is going to be the magnifying glass. For a while I thought about utilizing that as a mirror and having that be the arcane focus, right? A magic mirror, that could be kind of cool. Maybe I'd talk to my GM and say, hey, instead of a magnifying glass, can I use a mirror and have that be my arcane focus? Who knows? We can always change that around. But I did want to have some type of arcane focus since there is not a component pouch on this miniature. You could utilize really any of these things. I think for this aspect here, while I would argue those are boomerangs, it doesn't have to be. Perhaps those are just some type of handles for a Kirky style knife, though it doesn't have much of a blade. So there again, one of those little details that is it going to break it? No, but maybe we go and change and we talk to our GM and say, hey, can I also be proficient in boomerangs like a warlock would be? And maybe our GM would say yes. But a really cool sculpt, but even better when you think about the aspects of putting these character development pieces into it. With this dress, we can now work with our GM to come up with, maybe it's in the not only the style of the dress with these like claw markings, this almost like tiger stripe markings. We're going back into a cat theme. Maybe the belt is certainly decorative enough to be a symbol of station for an investigation, not service, but aspect of our game world. We're going to create just a well-known investigation department from one of the kingdoms that's bordering wherever we're going to be adventuring, and have this to where it's not a station, but to where we get to utilize our official inquiry piece. Maybe this is like the Inquisitors. We could come up with a cool name. Like I said, this collar has some almost like tiger stripy aspects to it. Their symbol could be all around a many-eyed tiger, or just a tiger in itself, and it goes back to a many-eyed tiger. That eventually will be part of the findings of our character as they are going through looking for the mage that got away and their mentor. So pretty cool stuff that we're able to build into this character, all based on the miniature itself. So pretty cool process. I'm pretty happy with the character that we built. I would be happy to play this character in a game. And I think it's got some really cool aspects that a GM would appreciate being able to include into their story writing. So just like that, another Wednesday has gone by. We have created another character that's fully fleshed out and developed, ready to go in and start playing at level 1. We do have another miniature, of course, in our line to paint. Just as a quick update, we are still working on the Barbarian. He is getting painted. Others have been painted and posted onto Instagram. We still have our fighter with the bow to do. I think actually we made that one a ranger, if I remember correctly. I'm losing track of them now. We also have our goblins on wargs from last week. So another cool character ready to go. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it helped drive some inspiration and was interesting, insightful, and really helped you come up with some good creative processes to look at character creation in a different way. Don't hesitate when you're in your local game store or searching online for miniatures. Find something that really is cool looking and appealing to you. Purchase it and use it to create a character that I guarantee you'll enjoy and be invested in playing at the table. Until next week, have a fantastic Wednesday. And of course, leave us a comment, give us a follow, and let us know where will your adventures take you. Bye-bye.